COVID-19 never should have been a pandemic, or at least here in the United States, it never should have been epidemic. But Trump, right? Check it out, leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you. 2020 was the second worst year. Well, actually, it was the worst year for economic growth since the Second World War. Mixing up my seconds here. We are in the midst of the second Republican Great Depression, and nobody's acknowledging it. And I think this is nuts. We had another 800,000 people apply for unemployment last week. Almost 1 million people every week are applying for unemployment. Yes, some people are getting jobs back, but by and large, we're losing jobs. We've got a small business holocaust. I mean, it's just small businesses across the United States are just going down in flames, and they're taking with them the families who started those small businesses, who were hoping that that would be the foundation of their lives and their futures, and instead now they're losing their homes and everything. And now we learn that there's a couple of sets of statistics out there. The one I got from the Washington Post last week was 1 in 7 American families, 1 in 6 families who rent are not able to feed their children right now. Kids are going to sleep hungry in the United States of America. Meanwhile, we've got this god-awful virus that Donald Trump did nothing about for 11 months. Well, arguably for an entire year. I mean, he knew about the virus actually back in December of 2019. In fact, in November of 2019, the United States government officially warned Israel that there was a virus coming out of China that, if it got into the Middle East, could cause problems for Israel. So we knew about this. Donald Trump knew about this. Trump in January told Bob Woodward that this thing's far worse than the flu. It's a killer. You don't want to get this. Remember that? That was in January. It's now a year later, February. Well, Trump was president until January 20th. So for an entire year, Donald Trump did virtually nothing about this virus. And then Biden comes into office and discovers that there was no plan to actually physically distribute the virus, or the vaccine, excuse me. What Jared Kushner and the people in the Trump administration were calling distribution was actually acquisition. They were buying, they put it in an order for enough vaccine for 50 million Americans. 100 million doses. That's what we bought. And it just cost a couple $1 billion. It was not a huge amount of money, but yeah, we bought enough vaccine, 100 million doses, which is enough for 50 million Americans. Well, there's 340 million people in the United States. Probably something like about 280 million adults. And Donald Trump bought enough vaccine for 50 million people. And then when AstraZeneca came back and said, would you like another 100 million? We can put you at the front of the line if you sign up right now. Trump said, nah. And as a result, Biden is having to reinvent the entire thing from scratch all over again, which is just a screaming disaster. We've got viral variations now, mutations happening, because so many people in the United States and around the world have it. And over the weekend, there was another study, and in fact, even Israel is struggling now with these variations. After inoculating this from Microsoft Network, MSN News, after inoculating 82% of Israelis aged 60 and more going into a nearly month-long lockdown and shutting down the national airport this week, Israel's indicating the end of the tunnel may be farther away. The infectious variant is overwhelming its hospitals. The health minister, Yuli Edelstein, said in a press conference a week ago Thursday, last Thursday, he said, we see a wave of infection that refuses to decline, apparently because of the mutation. This is the so-called British variant. And then there's the South African variant coming. And again, we're not ready because Donald Trump chose not to do anything about it. And I'm not sure that that was because he was malicious. I think it was because he wanted to play golf. That's why I don't think he's going to start a third political party. He's just going to mess with the Republicans. The guy is lazy. He's been lazy his whole entire life. He's always gotten other people to do his work for him and doesn't even really understand his work. So here we have a country that is melting down economically, a Republican Party that has now come back to the Democrats. 10 Republicans in the Senate have come back to Chuck Schumer and said, you know, we see that you've got this $1.9 trillion bill that's going to provide aid to the states and municipalities who are in a screaming crisis. You know, they're on the verge of laying off firefighters and EMTs and police officers, and their public health infrastructure is in a shambles, most of the states. And the Republicans are coming back and saying, we would like to propose to cut that by 2/3. We think only 1/3 of that $1.9 trillion should be distributed, and that money that you want to give to the states and municipalities, we don't think they should get a dime. This is how insane these people are. It's just astonishing.